Good evening, friends. Stephen Burnett with Israeli News Live. And tonight we are going to get into the very real possibility that the war that has started in Ukraine is about to spread outside of its borders. And it may include Poland and Romania, Moldova, who's also right in the middle. You're going to find out exactly why Putin actually went into Ukraine when he did. Just so happens that Ukraine and NATO had already planned an attack that would take back the eastern part of the country, Luhansk and Donetsk. The two republics, the breakaway republics that have, for the last 8 years, have lived in tyranny underneath the neo-Nazi fascist government of Ukraine, headed by Zelensky now. Yeah, I know it's kind of hard to believe. You'd think a Jewish guy wouldn't want a neo-Nazi government. But then again, Hitler was surrounded by Jewish people all in his cabinet, all the while they were killing the real Jewish people during the Holocaust. In the Republic. A day before the start of the war, fateful decisions were made to exterminate the Russian-speaking population in Donbass. The Ukrainian army, under the leadership of the National Battalions, was preparing to start military operations in Donbass on February the 25th of 2022. Vladimir Putin was literally a day ahead of the plans of Kiev and the West, which made it possible to seize the strategic initiative. About a week before the start of the Russian special operations, Edward Basurin reported on a map of the attack on the Donbass that was intercepted from the armed forces of Ukraine. Within 2 days, it was planned to begin a complete cleansing. Moreover, the Donetsk, Luhansk, and several other cities did not plan to capture at this stage, but simply surrounded and blocked. That is, a complete blockade of settlement was emphasized before a complete cleansing. That sounds like another neo-Nazi tactic, doesn't it? There is a conviction that this plan was deployed jointly with NATO curators because the Americans previously transferred about 5,000 of their soldiers to Poland. Plus, there was also the Polish army. According to the plan, they were supposed to block our Kaliningrad grouping, so that in which case it could not advance to attack the territory of southeast Ukraine. All right, well, look at that real quick just so you can see what we're talking about there, right? So what would he be talking about here? Kaliningrad is right here. All right, there's Kaliningrad. There's that little territory that Russia has right there in the heart of Europe. Poland there, they put the troops there. So those troops could not make it across to Belarus to get into Ukraine to be able to help anything. Makes sense? The second grouping is 1,000 soldiers of the Stryker Brigade, armored vehicles in Romania. This grouping blockaded Transnistria so that the peacekeeper station there would not be able to advance to the south of to Odessa. And if you look at that, there you go right there. There's Romania there. They would not be able to get to Odessa. Let's take a quick look back then at Google Maps for that one there. There you go. So they would block them there so they couldn't reach Odessa to do any good there either. So they were really, NATO and the Ukrainians were working very feverishly to wipe out the eastern part of Ukraine. It was all a single set of actions that were to begin on the night of February 24th, 25th. In fact, the actions of the armed forces of Ukraine were only 1 day ahead of them. Why are they so hysterical? Because everything was ready to seize the territory, and then suddenly, 1 day earlier, units of the LPR and the DPR began to actively operate with the support of the Russian Federation Armed Forces. First of all, airfields, runways were attacked so that it was impossible to land transport aircraft with weapons from the United States and other countries. Command posts, air defense systems, radar stations, anti-aircraft missile divisions, etc. were disabled. The People's Militia of the LDNR, with the support of our artillery and high-precision weapons, launched an offensive against Vostok Group.